Predicting innovation, something that we all seem to want to do. Any of us who are fans of Star Trek, we've spent a lot of time trying to understand what will actually happen in the future. But of course, trying to predict the future, especially when it comes to technological innovation from what we're experiencing currently, is usually nonsense, right? We just have no idea what can really happen. And of course, any real innovation is a discontinuity. It's something that occurs that we really didn't see coming, and that's really the joy of innovation. So what that means is that it can't be planned, it can't be legislated, and it can't be regulated today, even though that's what people are trying to do. And so there's some technological innovations that you'd say, well, these are just misguided. Things like, you could argue, TikTok and other sort of entertainment services. Well, are they really essential? Are they really important? Well, one thing comes to the other, and they really are two edges of the same sword, and we really have to accept that. So a solution or a sideshow, right? So you could say TikTok is a sideshow, but it also enables global communication. It enables people to send informative videos and, of course, dancing videos too. So all that just happens simultaneously. But ultimately, any of the true important problems that society faces must be solved by technology and technological innovation. What we currently know and what we currently understand today is not going to solve our most critical problems that can range from climate change to food shortages to energy and disruption and all the things that we're facing today, right? So innovation allows for remarkable things. I mean, let's think about this. The richest person in the world in 1850 does not live or did not live as well as maybe the average or even lower than average person in the United States today, right? What has caused that? It's technological innovation. It's scientific breakthroughs. It's the understanding of how to generate electromagnetic waves and we get electricity. It's understanding how to control and harness thermodynamics, and then we get heat-driven power, right? It's understanding all of these magnificent scientific breakthroughs that led to innovation that lead to practical products every day. So we can all hold a supercomputer in our pocket now, and that's just astonishing to anyone who's worked in the industry for multiple years. So, or not, right? So again, we have lots of things that are wastes of time. We see people just staring at their phones all day, and we see, distraction, fragmentation, and some things that can be very troubling, right? So all of this is not all good, right? And so where do we control it and how do we understand? Well, we do accept the bad with the good, but does the bad outweigh the good? That's the thing that we're struggling with. And so we understand that when you're on social media, especially someone like Facebook or any of these other sites, you really are being manipulated as if you're playing a slot machine. I mean, let's be clear, right? This is all just manipulation to get you to use their site, to use their service, to go back for more, and then suddenly you're just an advertising cog, right? And that's really what technology has become, a profit-generating advertising platform, right? Well, is that really what we hope for? Because technological breakthroughs are still essential in the world that we have created. If we're going to solve those problems, as I've mentioned, we need those technological breakthroughs in spite of all the manipulation and the sideshows that occur. So one of the things, as Arthur C. Clarke said, great innovation is indistinguishable from magic. I mean, it's magic, right? And so the things that happen around us, maybe we take for granted. The fact that you can just get a high definition video image on a screen in your pocket is remarkable to me. And then having communications globally is remarkable. When I was teaching in the 1990s, I remember, calling someone in China on a mobile phone, and the class thought that was just incredible, right? It was magic. Now we take that for granted, but not too long ago, this is something that just wasn't really possible, right? And so now it's these incredible innovations, right? Well, of course, the thing that creates real value is timing and luck, right? Again, we've said over and over again, well, Google was the 6th search engine, right? Well, they had great technology, but they also had excellent timing and good luck, right? And there were many other elements to companies that have been very successful. Facebook wasn't the first social media company, on and on, right? But companies can have great success, but you need to have the gods on your side as well. And so once again, we have something that can be essential to what mankind needs and something that can be just a distraction. right? So it leads us to, well, does the future need us? We think we're an important component to Earth and the ecosystem. Well, are we really? And this is something that Bill Joy, one of the co-founders of Sun Microsystems, wrote in the 1990s, where he said, the future does not need us, right? So we are not needed, meaning that we are not so important that we are indispensable, right? We are an important part of the ecosystem and we should play that role. And technology enables us to do that. It enables us to interact. It enables us to play an important role. But technology can also lead to a downward spiral. There's a lot of issues that are being created simply because those great innovations with understanding electromagnetism, thermodynamics, etc., have led to a climate crisis, right? And so are we in a downward spiral because we've created our own demise? Well, one of the things that an expression I love is the broken road, right? So there's no clear path anywhere. And you have setbacks, you have challenges, but those challenges lead to innovations, lead to inner strength, lead to determination, and lead to great advancements, right? So it is a broken road, and we can't predict smoothly, and we certainly can't predict from the current conditions that we have. And so we need to understand that solving great problems require great solutions. Great solutions are unpredictable, right? So what you need is you need to have an environment that enables discovery, because discovery leads to innovation. Now, one of the things that I call a wish, a law, and a mistake is that we're trying to have legislation and regulation that will simply determine what will be the best outcome, right? So maybe an example in California is this mandate for electric vehicles. Well, I submit electric vehicles solve nothing. And that's putting a lot of energy and resources in the wrong area, because an electric vehicle is not green. An electric vehicle is not going to solve a climate crisis. And if more and more people want those electric vehicles, you're simply producing more and generating more greenhouse gases, right? It may be a transition, but legislating and narrowing options because you think you understand the best solution will lead more to detriment than advancement, right? And so guided results lead to inefficiency. We need to have the unknown outcomes from basic discovery, right? So when we have basic research, basic discovery, basic scientific work, and we've seen examples of those over the years where innovations occur and we don't know really how to apply them. But what does happen is ruthless competition occurs in the private sector that enables the best usage. And we've seen that example in Silicon Valley especially, where given basic research and understanding from the transistor, from the laser, from other innovations, we see that we then get Intel and Microsoft and other great advancements that come from fundamental research that occurred in basic science discovery, but then finding the best applications and letting people just be free to pursue those applications. That's the best thing, right? So now we have a technology that enables access to anything from anywhere to anyone. And so what's good, what's bad? Well, both, right? So now with my supercomputer in my pocket, I can access any information. I can inform myself. I can communicate anywhere in the world. I can do amazing things. And I can also spend my day just distracted by videos and other clips and other things. And I get fragmented and don't interact with people around me because I'm staring at my phone, right? So you have that platform though, and that platform, I kind of called it, well, it's a monster that's on the loose, right? So we don't know if that monster is benign or if that monster is really to our advantage or to our detriment. And it's how we apply innovation that will enable that monster, hopefully, to work to our advantage. But having understanding that there is a monster out there, it leads to regulation, it leads to understanding and trying to limit what can happen. Those applications aren't necessarily to our best advantage, especially because we are in a crisis situation. And so trying to predict what we can do while we're regulating, while we're restricting innovation, while we're saying what companies can and can't do, when you have the largest companies in the world who are spending hundreds of billions of dollars collectively in research and development. And now we're saying, well, we just don't like that. We think you're too big. Well, that research and development is going to go nowhere unless these companies afford to do it. And there are very few that can, but restricting them ultimately restricts benefit to society in general, right? So there's a problem. Like I said, all the money in the world, right? So Silicon Valley is this very innovative. And Silicon Valley is really a state of mind, not a specific location, because innovation happening creates great value. And people win the lottery. It's the way the world works, right? It is a winner-take-all environment, whether that's in athletics, whether that's in business, when in any environment. People participate because the rewards are great and the winners get most of the rewards. And unfortunately, legislators and regulators don't like that, even though that's the way the world works. So you can't fight that. You can try to regulate it, but ultimately that regulation leads to inefficiency. I mean, just think about, your favorite sports, right? If you're watching a professional league, if someone said, well, we don't want people to make too much, we want people to make about the same amount, we want people to have equal access, we want, some kind of like diversity or some kind of forced mixture without letting merit and achievement really rule the day, you'll end up with something mediocre and uninteresting. Well, that's what we're doing with technology. And so predicting technology, you have to take away this layer of inflicting, essentially, mediocrity. And and those are harsh words, but if we really want the advancements that we need, we have to let the best be the best. And anything less than that, and we get less, and that is not good for us today. All right. So in summary, technology can be a sideshow. We know that, and it can be a distracting sideshow, but it also ultimately will be the solution to the issues we need. And it can be magic for sure. And it's a wonderful thing to see when you realize that when electromagnetism was ultimately harnessed by Faraday, right? And Queen Victoria looked at that and said, well, what's it good for? I mean, we couldn't even understand that electricity could rule the world, as it were, which it does. Without electricity, we don't have the modern world. And it wasn't obvious when we could generate electricity what we could use it for. But now we understand that that has also created tremendous downsides to our society, right? So as we say, our place on this earth is not secured, right? And we need to have innovation that's directed towards that, right? We can't regulate it. We can't wish it. We can't determine it. Technology is unpredictable. Basic science, basic discovery, that's what's needed. And a government needs to fund that. And it needs to allow then that discovery to come into the public and then let the best be the best and let ruthless competition rule, right? So when we have the best innovative technology, then it can apply to anyone, anywhere. And that's where we have our greatest advantages and the greatest opportunity. And it can't be predicted. You can enable the sources to then form great innovation, but you can't predict what that'll be. Just like, forming life on Earth. Well, we had a mixture of RNA and DNA, and ultimately we had life, right? You have to put those components together that can create the best opportunities, and that's really the best thing to predict. So yes, there'll be a lot of money made. Yes, there'll be a lot of issues regarding that money, but ultimately value is value, and great value can essentially be the most valuable thing for our society, and technology is the only thing that can solve the most important problems that we face.